Welcome to Property Guide, powered by Property Now. Thank you so much for tuning in. This week we're in Pune and we're talking about a very interesting debate that started up. If you're purely investing your money for appreciation, does it make sense to focus in the center of the city or to look at the peripheries where the ticket sizes are lower and the possibility of appreciation could be higher? That's the debate we're looking at this week. Joining me in Pune, a panel of 4 builders who are building all across Pune. And I'm going to start my introductions with the only lady on the panel. Darshana Parmar Jain is the Deputy Managing Director at Ishwar Parmar Group. Darshana, thank you for coming in. Atul Goyal, Managing Director, Goyal Ganga Group. Rohit Gera is the Managing Director at Gera Developments, and Nitin Nyati, CMD of Nyati Group. Thank you, all of you, for coming in. The interesting question, and this is the debate across Pune, is if I'm making a pure money appreciation linked investment at this point, should I be focusing on the center of the city where all of the social infrastructure is available, or the peripheries, especially in Pune, where there's so much construction happening right now and I'm able to get good deals at lower rates? Rohit, do you want to jump in? Where do you stand?
So I think it's really individual dependent, and what your timeline of your investment is. So I think the further away you go from the city center, there's much less civic infrastructure, and the reason, because there's less civic infrastructure, land prices are less. So developers are able to pass off far lower apartment prices because their input costs are lower. Once the civic infrastructure kicks in, there is a pop in prices. So certainly that is a far better way of investing. But what's really important to keep in mind there is that there's a lot of supply. So then you've got to get the developer right. And I think you also have to have a handle on some of the other things that are going on in that sub-market as to what's going to drive demand.
I want to bring in Darshana here because you're building a lot in the PCMC region, right? And there is again a view that the social infrastructure, or simply the infrastructure in terms of roads, water, electricity, is coming in much faster.
It is, yes. There are a lot of people who've invested in our projects have seen their money double in 3 years, triple in 3 years, which is really good. And that kind of elasticity I don't see in the center of the city. Obviously, the city comes with its baggage of having narrower roads and, the civic infrastructure is there, but the quality of life is much better outside. So it's a very, very good bet to go a little bit outside. Although I'm not sure, like Rohit said, all the way outside, then there is...
Okay, so the further away I go from the center of the city, the larger the risk is.
Absolutely.
But if she's saying that the infrastructure is just fine and it's coming in just as quickly, and of course we know, for those of us who've traveled around Pune, that it's true, the center of the city is congested, it's difficult to travel, there's a lot of work happening on the roads that's not moving fast enough, if you're all going to be honest about it. So then doesn't it make more sense for me to be as close to one of the IT parks as possible as an investor?
Yeah, your first question about investment, that what is the ticket size one is looking for? Okay, if he has a limitation of a ticket size, naturally he cannot come into a very premium area. But still there are investment opportunities. So that's one of the consideration while investing also. If you go in the peripheral area, invariably size of a project is a larger. And larger size project means more amenities within. So that, yes, wherever there is a employment generation capability is more, which is like in Pune case, whether it's the eastern corridor of IT or a Hinjewadi area. So possibility of a flat going on a rent is a much higher.
So it sounds to me that you're going to the peripheries then, because that's what your argument is saying to me, that lower ticket sizes, the fact that I get better amenities, I get, more of a township sort of a, construction as well. So they're all positive. So
as I said in the beginning, if you have a really a large size of a ticket availability, then when you come in the city center, demand supply ratio becomes very different. Okay, supply is invariably less. And some people, if they want to be in that particular address, they're ready to pay premium for that. And that's where their appreciation kicks in.
Atul?
I've seen locations where they started as a primary location, where we had first time buyers. There was no infrastructure. We were selling at a very primary rate. Sooner we started our project and the location started getting urbanized, we realized that the location is getting into a premium location. And that is how you will see that Pune being a very new city, very new development happening. You will see that location specific, you will find locations getting urbanized in a phased manner. If you take a periphery or if you take a location, like what you see in Koregaon Park today was not true what you in 70s.
Okay, so I want to ask all of you this. If we look at, what the numbers are telling us right now from the analysts, it's very obvious that the key demand is for the 2-bedroom in the 40 to 80 lakh rupee bracket. For any of you who are building in the center of the city, do you have room to, build within that bracket, in which case you're not addressing the key demand? So then, as an investor, does it make sense for you?
What we've seen is in the last 30 months, Pune Municipal Corporation has seen an overall appreciation of 28% on average prices, right? If you take Pune metropolitan region and you remove the Pune Municipal Corporation, so all the remaining areas have seen a 17.5% appreciation in prices over the same period. The sizes of projects and just the sheer quantum of supply within the Pune Municipal Corporation is much less. We've also seen that in the last 6 months, out of the total new stock that got added into the entire Pune metropolitan region, only 25% of that supply has come into the Pune Municipal Corporation area. And this has been reducing consistently, where 2 years ago it was 40%. And that has a tendency also to push prices up.
See, I think it really depends even on the projects and the developers. I agree with Rohit. It's
Absolutely.
very important that which
the whole
developer
point.
you're buying with.
Yeah.
There are a lot of fly-by-night operators, but for the same value of money, for that 70 lakhs that you're putting into like a PCMC would get you nothing in PMC. But in PCMC, you're getting a lifestyle, you're getting a home, which you can rent out even as an investor, and you can flip it around much faster. So to be able to sell when you invest much faster and when you want it is also important. That's one of the considerations that buyers should have when they're investing.
Actually,
But I
whatever
think
ticket size you have, I mean, you have to start buying. You know, it doesn't matter whether you have 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, whatever ticket size or whatever.
It's a great thing for a builder to say.
No, but I'm telling you, people have made money. I mean, the way Pune properties have appreciated, the way Pune is getting urbanized, people have bought an apartment and kept it for 5 years, sold it and bought bigger apartments. And I can give you umpteen number of examples.
I can give you umpteen number of examples in the other direction as well, but that's a conversation for another day. I also want to talk about, the absorption of commercial space. How much space is available within the Pune Municipal Commission, area? If all of the commercial space is coming up outside of it, then won't the jobs be created outside of it? Won't the people want homes outside of it?
So I think if you look at employment, and that's a very, very critical driver for the housing market. There's industrial, right, which is one driver, and the other big one as far as Pune is concerned is the IT. So IT in Pune is typically running in 2 corridors, the eastern corridor and the western corridor. On the east is Kharadi down to Hadapsar, Magarpatta.
Yes.
Okay, both of these are within the municipal corporation limit, right? On the western side is primarily Hinjewadi, which is bordering on both the Pune Municipal Corporation and the PCMC area as well.
In fact, Hinjewadi led to a lot of the development in the PCMC area.
Hinjewadi did lead to a lot of development there. So I think you have to look at the intersection of jobs, job creation, and infrastructure creation. And that's where you'll find opportunities or pockets of where to go out and invest.
Nitin, where do you find the larger political will for infrastructure? Within the PMC or outside of it?
PCMC has proven that way, that I will definitely give a credit to with the kind of a new infrastructure. But at the same time, I'll see PMC already has certain infrastructure, and to improve on that is more difficult than to do something on a clean slate.
Yeah, but as an investor,
Okay.
I don't need to take that on then.
Right.
So then focus on PCMC.
See,
Because
then
if we-
no,
I mean, if we keep coming back to
in that
infrastructure,
case,
we
in
can-
that case, what I would say is
Darshan's
this:
just
look
smiling
at
quietly. This is working out for her.
see, PMC has got a natural advantage of inheritance. All infrastructure, which is the schools and everything, got developed accordingly. And then like-minded people bring like-minded people. Okay, so that's a natural advantage that a PMC has got over PCMC. Though I will definitely appreciate that PCMC infrastructure is happening much faster than the PMC.
You talk about infrastructure, I think one of the things to recognize is India is a developing economy. And my definition of developing is people move in first and infrastructure follows. And whether you look at any area, and whether it's within the PMC, whether it's PCMC, whether it's in the PMRDA region, right, this holds true. And what I've seen consistently is that the infrastructure may take time, but the infrastructure eventually does come. The question is whether it's 2 years later or 4 years later. Eventually the infrastructure finds its way there.
I can add one more point here, that Pune's population, the migration population is highest in the state. And if you're having a demand and if you're creating demand, I'm sure you will have good appreciation. That's going to drive the appreciation in Pune.
And people, one sec, and people are looking at moving to Pune, not to
Doesn't matter. All right, we're going to take a very quick break. But when we come back, more importantly, we'll talk about risks of delays, risks that you take on as an investor. Where do the risks lie? In the heart of the city or in the peripheries? That's on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Property Guide, powered by Property Now. Thank you for staying with us. We're talking about investing in the city of Pune. It's proving to be a very, very interesting option for investors in comparison to bigger cities where there's overhang and there's slowdown. Maybe Pune offers better options. But then within Pune, should you be considering the center of the city or the peripheries? We talked about infrastructure, we talked about supply and about commercial space. But one of the things that we have to remember as investors are risks and risks of delays. And a lot of times, and I mean, I know that all the builders on this panel are going to say that delays happen because permissions take longer, so let's approach it that way. From the two regions, what's easier in terms of permissions? Do you find that the municipality within PMC works faster? Is it PCMC that works faster? If I were to come in as an investor, where do I have a larger risk of delay?
When you are saying a delay is for a customer, delay is after commitment of a unit is there.
Yes.
And unit is committed only after all the permissions are in place.
Okay.
So delays are two. Delay for a developer, where we are suffering the most, is all before customer comes in.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't see any much delay as such happening for a customer as such. So customer does not suffer for that, but yes, customers indirectly suffer for that from the pricing point of view. Because for sanctioning, whatever delay is there, it has a cost. We have invested heavily in a land and it remains unutilized, or if it doesn't come in a production, that cost of interest gets loaded on a project either, or builder has to suffer for that.
I completely agree that the risk of approvals happens much before the customer actually comes in. Then the customer is dealing with actual execution risk. But I want to talk about, as far as PMC is concerned, we have some crazy stuff going on here. We actually have a situation where if the municipal corporation doesn't give you the occupancy certificate, they have some ridiculous fines for occupying without the occupancy certificate. If they delay giving you the OC, and because your customer needs his house, he's paying rent, he's paying his EMI, okay? He needs the house, you go ahead and give him the house, you have to pay an exorbitant fine. It's a win-win for the corporation. This is the ridiculous situation that we find ourselves in. It's not happening in the other two areas as of now. But these kind of policies need to be changed, and need to be changed rapidly and urgently, so that the customer is not finding himself in a situation where if the corporation delays giving them the OC, there's more money for the corporation to be made. That's just ridiculous.
It sounds like blackmail now.
You use the word, but it's absolutely true.
So are you saying that this sort of process is categorically putting the PMC at a disadvantage when it comes to investments? Would it be fair to say that?
Most certainly. We, for one, find that why should we be investing in the municipal corporation limits where there is an element of political terrorism which is currently taking place? Why should we put money in here when if you go outside, or like the Pune metropolitan region, the political involvement in there is far less. And there is political terrorism taking place, and this needs to be stopped.
Nitin, you're nodding. You want to add something?
No, I absolutely agree with Rohit that yes, political terrorism, and the best way that they do is try and get somehow stop work notice on us. And if that stop work notice comes, then project is delayed, and that's where
then I'm
customer
taking on a
suffers.
construction delay risk as an investor as well.
That's right.
Darshana, what's your experience?
So in terms of completion certificates, I think PCMC is a lot faster. We have projects in PMC also, and they are faster. But yes, if the delay happens from there, then at that point the customer does suffer because we are not able to give possession without the completion certificate. So although your schedules may be on time and you've completed your projects, you still can't hand over your apartments. That delay can happen, and it can be as much as 6 months, 8 months, or a year. To get these kind of completion certificates, yes.
Okay, so if I was an investor investing in one of your projects today, would you advise me to sort of work in a 6-month delay as an expectation on the ground, saying this should just come?
Yes, as a developer, you don't want to. We always strive to give possession before. So in the project that we've done, our phase 1 was delayed because of various things. We had strikes in Morbi where we were getting our tiles from. We had labor problems. Now, within our schedules, when we are telling our customers, we are giving a 12-month buffer within our projects to say that we will deliver it in December if I know my schedules are going to be done in Jan.
And see here, I would say delay is not in interest of developer also.
Yes.
Delay harms developer most. So understand that.
So I think just to kind of clarify that, right? Certainly the overall cost to the customer is much more because he's paying rent and pre-EMIs, whereas that's not coming to the developer. So the developer is losing, the customer is losing. So it's a lose-lose. The delay hurts the developer on the entire project and hurts each customer on his own home. So I think that's the point which Nitin is making, and I tend to agree with that completely. So it's not in a developer's interest to actually delay a project.
Atul, you were talking about, you said positive things that are happening in the PMRDA region. Tell us what they are.
No, what I feel is that PMRD is a big boon. I mean, we realized what happened when DP was passed in '87. PMRD is trying to bring in all the villages surrounding Pune, municipal corporations under one umbrella. So I think that is going to create, decentralized growth of Pune. All four corners of Pune will mushroom up, will grow in a very planned manner. Ample supply of affordable housing, which is really lacking today. If you look at Bombay is just 423.
If there's so much supply coming in right now in terms of inventory of real estate, and you're adding more, won't that put an investor at a disadvantage?
Can I talk about supply? See, I mean, population is migrating to Pune. When we're talking about supply, organized builders are able to cater almost 10 to 15% of the population. Rest of the population still stays in illegal housing and slums. When we talk about affordable housing,
when we talk about affordable housing in Pune, how many of the builders on this panel are even catering to that segment? Who's catering to that segment, given the kind of costs of construction, the costs of everything?
Let us define what is affordability. Affordability is what you can pay for. As Nitin was saying.
But if I'm not mistaken, and anyone who wants to answer this question, 40% of Pune's population is currently living in slums?
Yes.
Anyone targeting that?
Of course, I'm doing slum projects in Pune, and I'm doing it even in Bombay. That's a different line of work you have to do. But what I'm talking about is catering to 35% of the population which stays in illegal housing. We need to cut down, and this kind of integrated plan development will create those centers, economic centers, where these illegal constructions could be curtailed, is what we're saying.
There have been a lot of complaints about illegal construction in Pune. It's been written about a fair amount. What is the solution for illegal construction?
Political will, I think. I think you need to go after the illegal construction, regardless of who owns it, right? Please understand, illegal construction is the worst thing as far as the city is concerned. Because the illegal construction, the city earns nothing. They pay no development charges, they pay no development premiums, and then they pay no property taxes.
I get that, but on some level, he just mentioned that a large portion of Pune's population is living in illegal construction. On the other hand, we have a lot of supply coming up with a fair amount of overhang. Is there a mismatch there that, there are buildings coming up that are not being occupied, and here you have illegal construction that is being occupied? What's going wrong?
I think the illegal construction is about, it's about greed. If I built 3 extra floors, paid no premiums, okay, and I can afford to offer that for 500 rupees less a square foot, somebody needs to buy that home. He's paying less for it. So it's two people being greedy. It's a greedy developer or fly-by-night operator and a greedy customer. The other issue is in terms of the overall supply. I think one of the things to understand as far as Pune is concerned is 2 things have happened, and in spite of that, we're only sitting on a 12 or a 13-month inventory overhang. One is the supply has increased by only about 18 to 20%, but demand has not come crashing down, and that's pretty evident if you look at the ready reckoner rates which the state government puts out. They raise the ready reckoner rates by 15 and 20% year on year anyway.
But if you went around asking the citizens of Pune, which we have done, they will tell you that prices are still too high, that they're waiting for prices to come down, which is why they're not buying. So again, something's going wrong here.
Of course.
Can I take that?
Yeah, go ahead, Nitin.
As far as prices are concerned, see what is it? It is a construction cost which we have to incur, where there cannot be with a branded developers or with the experience, they cannot compromise on the quality. Second is our as delay cost, which is the finance cost. Third comes our PMC and all that sanctioning cost, okay, and then comes the land cost. if FSI norms are relaxed bit, if more FSI is permitted, one. Second is, which is what is happening now. Okay. Second is, if corporation delay, that is the sanctioning is much faster, then that plus this land cost, that is how prices can come down. Below that it cannot come, because nobody is going to do business with a loss incurred in that.
And if you look at the pricing, government is by increasing pricing by 20% every year, ready reckoner prices. Now if you look at the ready reckoner prices of each location, and if you even go downwards, the more expensive the real estate or the pricing is, the more we spend on construction. The land prices are higher. So profit margin is not increasing if your prices goes up. I mean, builders are not benefited. I would really not agree with that fact, what people think.
No, so
that is something which I really deny completely.
When they want to invest, they need to also be able to pay for the kind of assurance that they want from the developer. You want in time delivery, you want to make sure that the builder is good, gives the specifications he's promising, and everything in time. You have to be able to pay to that kind of a developer. That has to be there. So there is no bare minimum that you can go under. There is a threshold, and Pune will not go under that threshold today.
All right, so it seems unanimous that the prices of property in Pune are not going to come down anytime soon, but I'd like to remind you this is a panel of developers that we're talking to. But if you're talking about pure investments, to me, it seemed like the PCMC and the peripheral regions of Pune did win out when we talked about infrastructure, we talked about bigger, larger amenities, bigger projects that people are constructing, and headroom for appreciation. If you have questions about investing in Pune, write to us. Our email ID is at the bottom of your screen. Thank you so much for joining us on the panel. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for watching.